cool. It was one of my favorite songs.
Well, we wanted to hear you sing it.
It's been a while, but
A long, long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile. And now I knew if I had my chains that I could make those people dance and maybe they'd be happy for a while.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. So, are we seeing the end of South Korea as we know it? Is South Korea gonna disappear from the map? It looks that way because it looks like this guy, Yoon, has completely sacrificed his country just so he can be a clown in front of Biden and his cronies. Anyway, guys, I want to ask you guys for a favor. If you can, like and help promote the channel, help the algorithm. It really does help. Only 10% of you are currently liking my content, which means I'm losing viewers and losing subscribers as well. If you look at my subscriber count, it's actually going down. So if you can do a favor and get into the habit of liking my content, it really helps keep the channel alive. And those of you who want to support me, that helps me going as well. You're welcome to join me in my Patreon or locals. Either one would be useful. So, without further ado, let's carry on with the show. So, it looks like South Korea has sacrificed themselves just to please United States. In the past couple of weeks, they have antagonized China, Russia, North Korea, and God knows how many other countries around that region. And I'm talking about the ASEAN countries as well. So the previous South Korean leaders, they've always kept a balancing act not to antagonize China, Russia, North Korea. Because if you look at the map where South Korea is, they are right in the middle of China, North Korea, and Russia as well. So any war that happens around that area, South Korea could be blown away, absolutely blown away. They would just disappear from the face of the earth. And United States won't be able to do anything about it. Because look where United States is compared to where South Korea is. Now you have Russia, China, and North Korea, and their missiles alone would be enough to annihilate South Korea. So what does this guy do? This guy goes to the United States and acts like a bloody clown. And I'm talking about a court jester, a bloody clown. He goes in front of the Biden and his mates, and they take the absolute mickey out of him. He goes there to sing. I mean, come on. This is serious issues we're talking about around about South Korea and about the people of South Korea, about the world in general. And this guy's making a fool out of himself, singing in front of Biden, and Biden's making a fool out of him. This reminds me of my school days when the bullies would pick a guy out from the crowd, a little Asian kid, and make him do things like sing or dance just to make fun out of him. And it's a kind of bullying. It's a kind of, using that little Asian kid to make fun out of. That Asian kid feels really happy because he thinks, oh, I'm really impressing my white friends. But it's not the case at all. These so-called friends are just bullying him. They're just using him for their entertainment. And this is exactly what it is right now. They're just using this South Korean leader as entertainment. This little Asian leader who's an absolute puppet, and they're making a fool out of him. Absolute mockery. When I saw that clip on Twitter, it was cringe. I was shocked. Do you see Putin going to United States and singing in front of Biden, making a fool out of himself? Do you see President Xi going to United States, making a fool out of himself, or singing and dancing? Even Boris Johnson wouldn't do that. I mean, what the hell? What the hell is this South Korean leader doing? If the United States wanted to hire an entertainment guy or a court jester, they would hire one, not invite the South Korean leader to come in and entertain them. I mean, what the hell, man? These are serious issues we're talking about, and this guy's selling himself to be the clown jester. So I want to go through this article here. South Korea is sacrificing itself for the sake of U.S. power projection. So obviously, this guy doesn't understand the history of South Korea and history of why South Korea is where it is. He doesn't understand geography. You know, he doesn't understand anything. Back then in the Korean War, who do you think won the Korean War? I'll give you a clue. The United States didn't win it. South Korea didn't win it. In fact, nobody won it. They're still at war. Yeah, this is a crazy thing. They're still at war, and it was the Chinese who helped the North Koreans. The Soviets obviously helped the North Koreans. So if there's another war that happens around that area, what does South Korea think will happen? Do you think China will sit idly by? Do you think Russia will sit idly by? No way. They will help North Korea. They're not going to let North Korea collapse. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Has he forgotten, where he is geographically? I mean, it's going to be hard for United States to go and help Taiwan. It's going to be even harder to help South Korea because South Korea is sandwiched right between North Korea, China, and Russia at the same time. So how the hell is United States going to help South Korea this time? They're not. Back then in the Korean War, things were different. Back then, United States had full air superiority. They had a navy. China didn't. And the Soviets were busy with their own thing. They were just helping the Chinese, helping the North Koreans, giving them weapons, etc. But this time it will be different. Russia will be out for revenge after everything that the West did with Ukraine. Russia's not going to be sitting idly by. They're going to be involved in any war that happens in that area. South Korea would be taken off the map within days, if not hours. I mean, what is this guy doing? So what has he done exactly? So to antagonize China, he basically said Taiwan is not a China issue, it's a world issue. So he's getting involved in Taiwan, obviously, and he's antagonized the Chinese, and Chinese have obviously called the ambassador to explain himself. And what has he done to antagonize Russia? Well, he said he might supply weapons to Ukraine, and Russia already responded back saying if they supply weapons to Ukraine, we will supply weapons to North Korea. And that shut him up for a bit. And they're also antagonizing North Korea. They've agreed a deal where U.S. submarines will be landing in South Korea, and these are nuclear submarines, by the way. So they're obviously escalating things with North Korea as well. And not only that, they're escalating things with China and Russia because China and Russia are not going to allow US submarines to be docked on South Korea with nuclear weapons. They will not allow it. So I believe China and Russia are already sitting down and discussing this and how they're going to counter it. And I'm sure they will get some sort of response happening over the next few weeks. I'm going to come back to that anyway. And to make matters worse, this guy has basically cozied himself up to the Japanese as well. And you can see here, Yoon has not only sold his country to Japan, and a lot of people in South Korea are calling him an absolute traitor. And the reason they're calling him traitor is because there is pictured bowing to the Japanese flag. And not only that, he made a statement as well. He said, what Japan did 100 years ago can be forgiven. Basically, you can't really blame someone for something that's happened 100 years ago. So he's obviously talking about the Japanese annexation of Korea at the time. Um, when Japan annexed Korea, they caused a lot of genocidal crimes in there. They used Korean women as comfort women, and there's a big list of atrocities that the Japanese did to the Koreans. And this guy has basically said, "Oh, don't worry, it was only 100 years ago. I'm sure you can forgive the Japanese." And that's exactly what he's trying to say. So let me tell you something. What do you think people would do to Biden if Biden suddenly stands up and says, "Oh, you know what? We can forget about the NAZIs. We can forgive them because that was done over 100 years ago. So don't worry about the NAZIs. Let's be friends." What do you think the people would say to Biden? He would be absolutely destroyed, cancelled. So this guy, Yoon, he's saying, "Oh, don't worry what the Japanese did 100 years ago. It's fine. We can be friends again." But does he understand that, if Japan ever becomes a superpower again, they will do exactly the same thing because Japan, you you know, their country is based on some fault lines, and Japan is at risk from earthquakes, rising sea levels, many other issues, and plus they don't have the land. Japan doesn't have the land. Their economy has been stagnant for the past 20 years. So if they become powerful again, who do you think they're going to target first if they want to annex the country? Obviously, they're going to annex South Korea first. And you can see Japan is arming itself, is going away from its pacifist country, and now it's becoming very, very aggressive, buying lots of arms and stuff. And who knows, one of these days, if Japan becomes powerful enough and strong enough, they might want to annex South Korea. So what's this guy going to do then? And it might happen. There might come a time when United States becomes bankrupt because the dollar crashes. The dollar is not the world reserve currency anymore, and United States has hyperinflation. The whole country collapses because of all the debt. The country goes into some civil wars. People are rioting in the streets. And if that happens one of these days, Japan will think, hang on a second, I've got an opportunity here. Let's grab South Korea while we still can. China is too strong. Russia is too strong. So let's go for South Korea. You never know. That might happen. I'm just saying hypothetically, by the way. So this guy is saying ignoring all the atrocities that Japan has done. It's like saying, "Oh, let's all forgive the NAZI, shall we? Let's forget about all of the atrocities that NAZI did to to the Jews and everyone else." It's crazy. This guy's absolutely crazy. So I'm showing you this picture of him bowing to the Japanese flag, and his approval rating in Korea is really, really low at the moment. I think it's in its 20s. People are calling him a traitor. Now he's destroying the relationship Korea had with China. And because of that, their economy is absolutely crashing, absolutely crashing. They're having hyperinflation. Their companies like South Korean Samsung is losing lots of money. They're having huge economic issues. And this guy tries to destroy its relationship with China, its biggest trading partner, destroy the relationship with Russia, its neighbor, and plus it gets a lot of oil and gas from Russia as well. Tries to antagonize North Korea, and for what? And for what? And I'll go to that in very, very shortly. So one thing that's been agreed from this summit is they're going to have nuclear subs stationed in South Korea. So North Koreans are not going to like it. The Chinese are definitely not going to like it. The Russians are definitely not going to like it because this is going to be another Cuban missile crisis. So what do you think the United States will do one day if China and Russia decide to park their nuclear subs in Cuba or Nicaragua? What do you think, or Brazil or Argentina? What do you think the United States will do then? Do you think they're going to say, "Oh, it's okay. We're doing this in South Korea, so we're happy for you to do it in our backyard"? Obviously not. They're going to be it's going to be another Cuban Missile Crisis Part 2. Americans are not going to like it, so why do they think that the Chinese and the Russians will accept it? So, like I said, they're having some major serious talks, and I'm sure the Russians and Chinese will come with some sort of agreement, um, and they'll come with some sort of agreement on how to kind of deal with this. And there's going to be a lot of options, and one of the options is probably going to be to place submarines in United States backyard, the same way they're doing it in South Korea. So we'll see how this develops, and I think this is going to be a huge escalation coming up over the next year or two. So this is the bit where he opens the door for possible military aid to Ukraine. I think they're probably already offering military aid to Ukraine, but probably in secret. I believe they're probably doing it as we speak, but they're probably not going to be making it public just yet because they don't want to antagonize Russia too much. So this is probably still happening behind closed doors. So what did Mr. Yoon get from going to United States? What economic benefits did he get? Well, one thing he got Netflix to invest 2.5 billion in South Korea to make TV shows and movies. So basically, what I'm trying to say is Mr. Yoon destroyed the relationship and the trading partner relationship with China, with Russia, and instead he basically signed a deal with Netflix. So can you see how this sounds? So you're basically destroying hundreds of billions of dollars worth of trade with China just for 2.5 billion trade with Netflix. Can you see how that stupid that sounds? It sounds really, silly to me. Absolutely ridiculous. This guy has literally no brains whatsoever. And you can see here Samsung's profit is down 95%. Apple has been laughing. And again, South Korean companies are losing share in China because antagonizing China, China is just going to fight back, and the people in China are not going to like it. They're going to stop buying South Korean products. Their cars are going down. Nobody's buying South Korean cars anymore. And the chips as well. America also has asked South Korea not to sell chips to China. So selling chips was their main money maker. 300 billion South Korea was making from selling chips to China. 300 billion. And now, because of United States stopping South Korea from selling important chips to China, they are losing 300 billion in that market. And you can see why Samsung's profits have gone down and many other chip companies' profits are going down. So you can see from this article, US urges Korea not to fill chip shortfalls in China if Micron is banned. So Micron is an American company which is under investigation in China, and they're probably looking to ban that company, and they're asking South Korea not to sell chips. But South Korea are also part of a Chip 4 alliance, and these Chip 4 alliances are not allowed to sell equipments or chips, advanced chips, to China. But China is accelerating their chip development, And the longer it goes, the more developed China becomes, the more self-sufficient they become. And this is really bad news. And because South Koreans are going to be the worst hit, because if you look at the map again, South Korea to China is just just a couple of 100 miles away. It's not that far, and it's just within shipping distance. So if they want to sell it to United States, obviously they have to ship all the way across the Pacific. Again, you've got to pay a lot of money for transport, and United States does not have the manufacturing capacity like China has. China is the manufacturing capacity of the world at the moment, and United States does not even come close. So for South Korea to completely forget about the China market and just focus on United States, it's really is ridiculous, really is silly. So that's all I wanted to say, guys. I think South Korea is making a huge mistake, and if wars escalate in that region, South Korea could disappear within a matter of hours, if not days. And they're antagonizing their three major neighbors, North Korea, China, and Russia. And if things escalate and China and Russia and North Korea team up, South Korea has got no chance. There is no way United States will able to stop any source of onslaught coming from China or Russia at the same time. Absolutely no way. Impossible. It's going to be hard for United States to protect Taiwan. It's going to be even harder to protect South Korea. So this guy has basically sold his country, and South Korea is heading down a slippery slope, and it's not going to be good for South Korea in the near future. And again, this guy, this president, is just going to be remembered as the little Asian guy who got made to look like a fool in the United States. He went over there to sing and dance for Biden while he sells off his country. Absolutely disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Help the channel, guys. Keep it alive. It's getting harder and harder for me to carry on. I don't make anything like those big channels you see in Duran or Richard Medhurst and many others. I'm just still a small channel, and yeah, it's becoming harder and harder for small channels like myself to survive. So only your help keeps me alive, basically. So anyway, thanks for everyone that's been helping me so far, watching the videos and doing everything you can to help the algorithm. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now.